Welcome, everybody. We are going to, I'm going to talk today and give you guys a little bit of an update on, interesting. One of the things that came through was, start or open up to the different realities that we're seeing all around in different parts of the world, and start opening up new perspectives, new perceptions, new realities, and allowing also what is happening around to be part of the activation that is essentially part of why, or part of the purpose of why things are happening. So there's a couple of things that are flying around, literally, that are roaming around, and it's interesting. I hadn't actually. The first video that I saw on the subject of 3-eye Atlas was about a month, maybe a month and a half ago. And I just saw the word, didn't actually dive into it. I just kind of left it there. And then I heard, or I started to see more on the subject, more on what all this is. And we have to remember that right now, one of the things that's happening right now is we're playing into very multiple realities, multiple dimensions. Okay, this is very, very important, because just because you're seeing something in the news, or just because you're seeing something, that's perceived to be happening at a global level, each person will experience it depending on what dimensional consciousness they're operating from. So if I'm seeing something in the news, if I'm seeing something online, if I'm seeing something on social, okay, that is part of a reality that is depending on where I mostly function where my consciousness is functioning from. That reality could be light years away. That reality could be a little closer. Let's look at it from levels. Okay, that reality, when I'm talking about light years away, then that reality is like 1,000 layers, 1,000 layers, out there. Meaning that I am not going to be physically experiencing that. So that's one scenario. Another reality of what is happening in the news could be a little bit closer. So it just depends on where you're functioning from. Okay, most of what you're still seeing and experiencing out in the global aspect of things, news, whatever the case may be, there's still a lot of uncertainty and fear and confusion. There's a lot of emotion that is being played out, which is part of why it's an emotional activation. And so you will start to see and you will start to feel deeper into what's happening and what's going on and the ins and outs of everything. So, there will be many things that again are happening, but as you continue to expand your consciousness, as your consciousness expands to expand, as you honor this process. By the way, it's a byproduct of honoring the process. You're going to start to separate. You're going to start to bring yourself closer to a completely different reality that is more loving, more supportive, so on and so forth. So it's really interesting because every time that I see 3i, okay, for the most part, we're seeing I capital. So it actually looks like a 31. So I'm looking at 3-1, and then I'm looking at the 3-1 as the inversion of 1-3. So it's a very interesting energy that's coming through, right? Because of the name that was chosen to be 3i. 3i. Right now that's coming through. Literally what's coming through is, oh, third eye. It's a massive activation. In fact, last night it was like all of this was throbbing a bit. Was throbbing. It wasn't like super like intense, but it was intense enough for me to feel like, oh, it's happening. It's this name and the frequencies as well that come with it are activating our third eye. Okay. The 3-1. Okay, we have 3-1, which is 4. We have the new structures, 4. It's very much a new structures and also old structures. So we have the collapse of the old structures and we have the emerging of the new structures, all simultaneously occurring. And then the other one with the flip, 3-1 is the inversion of 1-3, and 1-3 represents the divine, the feminine energy. So to me, it felt like, oh, so it's this flip. We're going through the flipping, the inversion of the very, very inside out backwards energy of feminism, feminine energy, which is extremely important. In fact, I had a personal session last week, and at the very end, we're talking about this energy. We're talking about the feminine and the masculine, and how to work with that energy, how to open up to the divine energy, the pure feminine energy, and everything has been backwards. So the feminine energy has been working through a level of scarcity, a level of fear, from a level of I'm not good enough, I'm not sufficient enough. And so the characteristics and the energies and the habits and the things that we do from that backward energy is all coming up. It's all being cleared. It's all being released. And we're moving into the inversion, which is the pureness, the purity of this feminine energy. So that is the first thing actually that came through. When I saw 3i, I was like, oh, 3-1 looks like 31, which is 1-3 backwards. And it's interesting because personally, that's actually also it ties with my human birthday. And also, oh my goodness, I just remembered, I have two, a family member and another neighbor, a very close neighbor, that also ties in with their own birthday, birth date. So all of these frequencies are being transmitted. We are receiving those frequencies based on the numbers, and because everyone's using these numbers, or this number, it's very synchronistic for where we are right now. It's very supportive for what's happening right now and what is about to. And then Atlas. Right now, what's coming through is like an actual I'm visualizing an actual Atlas, which is also significant of how it's about to change, or going to be, everything is continuing to move, and whether so it's, yes, we'll go through physical movement, like the tectonic plates of this planet are moving and shifting, but it's more of like the structures, internal structures that have created divisions within, the atlas, our world, the world map. Those are in the process of shifting, changing, being reorganized. And you have to remember that, like, this is a process that it takes in order for us to, like, completely dissolve all those linear structures of, like, division of cities, of countries, of states, of continents. All of that is linear. All of that is made by human ego. And so all of that is also, going to change. It's a process for sure, but right now that energy is super strong, especially because of this particular mass that has been spotted, and like, whether we want to go deeper into like what's going to happen, being that it's so close to our planet is already a huge sign of how powerful these frequencies, the frequencies that I've been talking about, that I've been sharing with you guys, how powerful those are. Right? The closer it gets, the more frequencies and the more powerful the frequencies become. So massive is an understatement. Powerful is an understatement. And I mean, it is exactly what we need, because it's exactly where we are. We are in this very interesting opening where we are very receptive. We're more open, we're more receptive, we're more curious, we're more flexible to more things. So as our mind continues to expand and as our body continues to open up, we're going to be able to see more. And so as we see more things appear in the sky. More things start to come into our perception. More things come into our vision. So, the fear talk is going to activate your fears. That's the whole point. We have to be continually opening ourselves to feeling, okay, what is this activating in me? What's the, where's the fear inside of me? Where am I being triggered? Where's the confusion? Because there's a lot of things I saw one particular video for like 2 seconds about how a lot of what's being shared and a lot about what's being talked about is really just meant to activate an enormous amount of fear, which is part of the purpose. However, it's not about latching onto that and living from surface level fear and then, being in this state of worry or state of anxiousness and state of all of this. Like, if all of that is happening, we have to be willing to feel it. We have to be willing to go deeper into these things. So I believe it was today that was like supposed to be closer. The trajectory seems to have shifts to have like changed. And by the way, it's all being orchestrated by and through our state of consciousness. Which is also very important to take note that our consciousness is also the navigating system that brings exactly what we need to feel and brings exactly what needs to be activated in us. So again, I'm opening this up for all of us to start feeling deeper into the frequencies, into the energies of this. When I started to see this, it was like, oh, how interesting. This is like, it's also when we start looking at beyond what's here, beyond what's in this planet, it's a part of our expansion that expands us. When you look up into the sky, when you look up into the sun, when you look at the stars, that alone expands you, because you see the sky and it's like it's massive, it's infinite, it's huge. When you look at the sun, when you look at the stars that are light years away, it expands you. So from a global perspective, the fact that the whole world, in a sense, give or take, is focusing on something like this, or something, out in space, is already pretty massive. Like, it's already a pretty huge activation for every single person on this planet. So it's going to be interesting how we continue to navigate and how it continues to navigate. There's a couple of other things let me just feel into if there's anything personal that I wanted to share too. As far as just, the throbbing, the pain, which I don't have that too much, but when I do, it's like, oh, it's big. Personally, it's been really interesting, the shift in temperature, the shift in weather. Yesterday, my parents and I got invited to a dinner, and it was super nice. It was really nice, like summer weather, summer, a summer breeze. And then lo and behold, today, less than 24 hours after it's cold. Like, even in the afternoon, you can feel the shift in the air. The air was cooler. There were some rain clouds around. And so as the day progressed, it was like, oh, it's getting cooler and cooler and cooler. And then you get to a point where it's not cool, it is cold. Like now it's officially cold weather. And so it's like sweater and jacket. And so this is also very symbolic of like how fast everything is shifting, how everything's flipping and turning. You know, you have summer one day and then the next day it's winter. Like this is a complete 180. And it was very interesting today. I'll share something too. I've been feeling into like, you know, are things 180? How does this working? How does this work? And so we've talked about spirals, right? It's a circular motion. Everything's circular. In fact, I did a Spanish video on the circle of life. Everything's circle. However, it's spiraling though. Like there's a circle. It's circular when it's like, okay, this is a completion, closure, and opening again. But it's also a deepening, so it's a spiral. So part of what I felt was we go 180 to like flip everything backwards, but then we continue to flip everything and we come back almost where we started, but not quite, because it's actually a 369. So you know how we say, oh, you do a 360. Well, 360 is a complete circle. But when you're going deeper and when you're in that deepening, you go out, you go further, 369. And it's actually like what I'm seeing is like, okay, yeah, well, if you're in the same plane, you know, level, it's a full circle. But when you open up, you go deeper. So then that's where the spiral goes down and you go 360 and then you go 369, which is very symbolic because it's 369 is like universal number. It's, you know, Tesla's magic number. 369 is, it's like perfection, divine perfection. And when you go past, excuse me, the 360, and then you go into the 369, a level deeper, it's like that's the full completion. That's where you go into the next level. So anyways, still kind of unpacking and unraveling that, but I thought that was very cool and a cool visual that I'm still unpacking. As far as the weather, we're talking a little bit about, you know, hurricanes. This whole, it's so interesting because it's like, okay, we talked about completion, talked about circular, the energy of circle of life, and then we have the hurricane. And then I actually did another video on the vortex. This is such a strong energy. Hey guys, so my camera storage gave out. So decided to just keep it as is. So I'm not gonna redo it, do the video again. There's a lot of information that came through that I feel will support, but I just want to let you know that's what happened. That's why the abrupt ending. But anyways, I am opening up a different opportunities for you guys to check out, see, feel into, sign up, register. And so if you're guided to join us in any of my upcoming opportunities, you're welcome to. With that, sending you lots of hugs, and I'll see you guys next time.